right, everyone. Welcome back to another great episode of Basscast Radio. I am your host, Brian Carter, and joining us later, my co-host, Hank the Bass Geek. What is up, everyone out there in radio land? Hope you guys all had a great weekend. Guys, the basscast.com was up in Fishersville, Virginia for the Augusta Fishing Expo. Had a great time up there. Got to see Journey Outdoors. You guys need a new kayak, anything tackle wise, they got you covered. Also, got to hang out with my boy from Fish the DMV. Put me on blast right off the bat. Thank you to him. A great show he had there. Lots of great content. I mean, I think I saw something where he posted like 3 weekends back to back to back where he did shows. And I want to say he's off this weekend and then at another show. So head on over and follow Fish the DMV. Also, guys, man, oh man. Let me let Geek back in here. But yeah, what a great show it was this past weekend. And last but not least, man, we hung out with Alvin with the American Angler Outdoors. Guys who are watching on YouTube, check out the new logo. We kind of helped him out with that here at the basscast.com. I didn't mind his old logo, but once it shrunk, you couldn't read it. We had that problem like a week ago. I mean, I was like, I finally just gave up. But the American Angler Outdoors, guys, is a new place where you can go listen to Basscast Radio. Roku or Fire Stick, Fire TV, Fire Stick, whatever it is. Head on over there if you have either one of those. You don't even have to have either one, to be honest. I just went to Roku, downloaded the app, and then went to the American Angler Outdoors and downloaded that. And you can watch 24/7 Basscast Radio. I think I don't know how many episodes he's uploaded, but he's got a lot of episodes uploaded. He's got 5 shows on there right now. More are being added within the next month. So it's going to be a big old bass fishing chatter talk network. Guys, we're joined by my co-host, Mr. Hank, the Bass Geek. What is up, brother?
Man, you know me, man, running late as always.
It's all good, man. We happy to have you with us tonight. That's the main thing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. I'm happy to be here, as always. And, man, just speaking of streaming, I mean, that's what I've been doing today is, getting ready to cut the cable, get away from, cable TV. I'm a sports guy, so I like it's hard to get away when you like to watch live sports. And but YouTube TV, man, you guys, I ain't paid by them, but I'll tell you what, they got a pretty nifty little deal happening. So
yeah, I've had YouTube TV for about a year now, and it's pretty freaking awesome. So I've been loving YouTube TV. But there is a new TV network package. It's ESPN and Fox Sports and a couple other networks are all getting together. So I'll be honest, except for the people upstairs that probably wouldn't be too happy with me. I could cut out all the rest of the crap and just keep that one right there and my free Pluto TV, and we'd be happy. I can tell you that right now. Guys, we got another great show for you tonight. We've got an NPFL first-time winner on Lake Eufaula, Mr. Will Harkins. Man, dude's a young man, crushing it there. I wanted to tell you guys the title for this episode. It's going to be Redemption, man, because that's what ended up happening. If you guys keep up the NPFL, Will lost it last year in a tiebreaker. I mean, that's like heartbreaking as all get out. A freaking tiebreaker. But he had 41.9, I think it's what it was. It's almost like 50 pounds for 3 days on Lake Eufaula. So, guys, Mr. Will Harkins, everybody. Will Harkins, everybody. Welcome to Basscast Radio. Check this young man out, right? How old are you, brother?
22. How are y'all?
22 years old. Just took home a check last weekend for $100,000. People have been doing this thing for like 25 years. Will has never taken home Probably more than $25,000. I mean,
Yes, sir. I've
Wow.
heard.
I'll tell you what, if I was taking home $100,000 at 22, it'd be a lot of booze and women. That's where it'd be.
you can pay some bills there, my friend. But I know you're probably still living at the house, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
There
Yep,
you go.
I am. So it is just sitting in a bank account doing nothing at the
Yeah, we
moment.
gotta make it do something, Will. As an investor,
Don't
we gotta put it in an IRA or something. We gotta make it at least grow a penny or two.
Oh yeah,
don't follow my lead, Will. Don't
Yeah,
follow my
don't follow Geese Lee.
yeah. That was sound advice there.
lead.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, man. How'd you get the fishing bug? I think I read something. Are you part of a generational thing here, or is this are you the only one?
Oh, so I guess my grandpa kind of started me out when I was 3 years old. We went on the lake. I still remember that day. It was pouring the rain. I had a little
Mm.
yellow poncho, and from there on, I just went to have fun. Yeah, I never thought about making this, tournament fishing. Never thought about this dream, never anything until like later into high school. So high school came around, and our local high school, Union County, started a high school team. So I think it was my junior year, and so I started then. First year, I was terrible. I sucked. I couldn't catch fish. It was bad. Had a lot of fun though. So senior year, I kind of got made it a little more serious.
In the groove.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I had a good senior year, then went to Young Harris College and fished on their college team. Yeah, and at the same time fishing some BFLs, fishing a Toyota here and there. So from that point on, I'd say right after high school is when it kind of hit and be like, okay, let's just take a run at it, see what happens. I still never thought, oh yeah, I'll be fishing pro or whatever. But I figured, make a run at it. And so here we are. It's definitely been a sharp trajectory the last couple of years to get to this point. A lot of things fell into place. So I'm happy to be living the dream, so
That's
to speak.
awesome, dude. So, guys, let's start off here. We got another young man come up through the high school, to the college. I mean, this is stuff I didn't even, back in the 90s, we didn't have any of this stuff. I mean, you just watched the old guys fish on TV, and that was about it. And they made it through
So
the
I was
rankings.
spending all my money on beer and women. That's what I
See,
said.
there you go. So what made like you said, everything worked out, but what made you decide? I mean, like you said, you're fishing some BFLs and some Toyota Series event, but what made you decide to make the commitment to the NPFL, brand new league nobody really heard of, and what made you decide to make the jump?
Yeah, so going into 2 years prior to joining NPFL, I fished the Bulldog division of the BFLs. Very first year, out of an old boat, out of what limited tackle I had, finished second in the AOI race. So I'm like,
Nice.
okay, let's try this again. Fish the next year, finish third in the AOI race. So it's like, okay, I want to try something a little bigger. And at the time I was thinking I'll just do jump to the Toyota series.
Right.
I had a couple of guys I met, one namely Rob Robleski. He is in the NPFL now. He's like, hey, buddy, you should check this out. See, just look and see, because they had just released that the last event would be on Lanier. So Lanier is only an hour from my house. I was like, you know what? I could go all year, not cash a check. There's always Lanier is
Right.
what my mindset was going into the year.
Yeah.
So, so I was like, okay, if this and this and this falls into place, I will fish it. I didn't have a good boat I had an old boat at the time.
Yeah.
Tackle, no sponsors, anything. So I ended up going to college for free on an academic scholarship. So I put all my college money towards a new boat and entry fees. So that was most of that was self-paid. And then I was like, okay, I still need sponsors though. So like the first 5 people I asked all sponsor me. So I had like half my entry fees covered.
Dang, son. Let's
I
stop this
know.
here. Let's stop this here, guys. That's something you don't hear anymore, Harley.
No,
In
you do not.
2020, what is that? That'd be 2021, 22 right there. I mean,
Yes, sir.
23.
Yeah.
Yes, because 24 now. So yes, holy cow.
Oh yeah. And that goes back to, you need those local connections. Like I said, all these
That's
guys
true.
were You've got to start there. You cannot go for the big ones first. You've got to start small, start local, and work your way up.
God, I need you to come talk to some people I know, young man. I'll tell you that right now. I got people here who want to reach for the stars. I mean, go for it. Keep talking.
Oh yeah. So no, so that that fell into place, and this was like December, and signups were due in January. And I'm like, okay, if this is what I'm meant to do, then I'm going to apply at least. It wasn't a commitment. I was going to apply and see what happens. I applied. Paul Benson calls me. He's like, hey, I want to know about you. So we had the hour-long interview process and whatever.
Awesome.
So I was like, okay, I really felt like I should do it. And I was nervous. I was scared, didn't have the finances to do that. But it's like, I'm young. I've got to give it a shot.
Yeah, true. You only live once.
Oh yeah, exactly. I can fail. Worst case, I don't cash a check all year. At least I say I give it a shot.
That's
but
awesome.
Yeah, it worked out.
All right, so let's dive into this whole bad boy tournament here. Lake Eufaula, man. We all know about last year's event. Ended up losing due to a tiebreaker.
Yes, sir.
How are your thoughts going into this event? I mean, like I said, the determination and the thoughts going into 2024.
Yeah, 2023 just kind of showed me, hey, I can compete at this level. So it was just a massive confidence booster. So going into this year was completely different mindset than last year. Last year, like I said, I was scared. I was fishing nervous. I wasn't confident. So going into this year, that all changed. It's like, okay, I can compete, I can win, I can do these things. So just a totally different mentality going into the year. And so you fish a lot. You fish a lot better, but you fish a lot more intensely as well, knowing that you can win. So that definitely helped going into this event. I've never been to Logan Martin. I spent a day of pre-practice on it. Spent, the 3 practice days and just figured out a little deal. But, that's daylight to dark, a lot of research, a lot of time on the computer, prior to getting there.
Right.
So it was just a total mentality shift to get to this point.
Go ahead.
So as a young angler, tell us how much time on the water do you think you spend? How much time, even before, let's say when you were fishing the BFLs and you were just kind of getting in there, how many days a week are you on the water? How much time are you spending on the water on average, you think?
Yeah. So, when I was in college, when I fished the BFLs, I graduated last May. Prior to that, throughout college, I'd always take my boat to school. I was probably on the water 200 days a year.
There you go.
Right now, probably not that much because I have a job.
Yeah.
So it's not like I get to fish all the time, but I do. Yeah, I try and make it a point to go once or twice a week.
Yeah. And, I think, and the reason why I ask you that is because I think everybody sees all you young anglers and they automatically think live scope. Live scope's the reason. Right. But you said it, 200 days a year, bro. That's more time than most people are going to spend on the water. And that goes back to, and I stress it all the time because I root for you guys. You guys are the future of the sport. And, I'm 50. And, I say all the time, it's not just the live scope, it's the hours and days on the water that you guys are spending that guys like me and like Brian, who didn't have high school and college fishing, we didn't get that. A lot of guys who are, the older pros now, some of those guys may not have really got serious about fishing until they were mid-20s, 30s.
Yeah, I was going to say later than that, to be honest, and that's really true. I mean, I've seen stuff. Go ahead. It's like 35 to 40 years old fishing. I mean, you even had a guy fish a BFL. I mean, fish the NPFL event that was like, or BFL or something. The Tackle Warehouse Invitational, and he was a rookie at 50.
Yeah. Well, Randall Tharp is a prime example of that. His rookie year on the FLW he was mid to late 30s, maybe even 40, maybe somewhere in there. So, It's great. It's the feeder system is really what we need to think about. This is the feeder system is beginning to work. So sorry, Will.
Yes.
I'm
No, you're
singing
exactly
your
right.
praises, bro.
Yeah, you're exactly right. But and live scope has become a big hot button issue.
Yeah, of
But I mean, look,
course. I love it.
oh yeah. I mean, look no further than Logan Martin. I looked at it maybe twice a day.
Yeah,
Yeah, it wasn't a player. You still have to
yeah,
know how to
Right.
catch them, and these young guys do know how to do that. It's
yeah.
not solely relying on the live scope. Yes, it has changed the realm of fishing, but you still got to catch them otherwise. Yeah. So
Amen.
If you look at the tournament, like you said, with having the full-time job now going into this event, what was your mindset before you went into practice?
yeah. So going into Logan Martin, like I said, I spent a day and a half of pre-practice on the lake, and the water is gen clear. It was an offshore. It was crazy, like 50, 60 fish a day, just scoping. Yeah, it was incredible. So I went into the event, preconceived notions. I'm going to just do that the whole week. I get there, wake up that morning, take a look at the water, and it's like 6 inches of visibility. It's just blown
Wow.
out. So I was like, okay, so I spent the first 2 days of practice trying to force that offshore stuff.
Mm.
I think I caught 3 bass in the first 2 days, so it was not
Mm.
happening. So that third day, I ended up just going shallow, figuring out a little current deal that morning, and I ended up putting the rods away at like 10 o'clock. And I literally sat down in the seat and drove the whole lake, in and out of
Oh, wow.
pockets, everything. Just visually looking at stuff that looked good to fish. That was similar to what I had seen that morning. Just so I could because I didn't have anything to fish. I had like 2 spots.
Yeah.
I needed something.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I ended up, marking everything that just looked good. I just fished it in the tournament. So every day
Wow.
was a learning period for sure.
We always talk about that as well. Every day is kind of like a practice. Is that how
Yes.
you looked at each and every day? Because I mean, for you guys that don't know, the National Professional Fishing League, you fish all 3 days. There's no cuts, there's nothing like that. So you still have that opportunity. I mean, you let a lot, but you still have that opportunity, to have a bad day and end up losing the whole thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that was what killed me in 3 tournaments last year at Santee, Eufaula, and Lanier. I had one day that I did bad on, whether that
Mm.
be the first or third or second day, whatever. One day killed me. So this year or this event, Logan Martin, I didn't really have that bad day. I thought the third day was my bad day and ended up being okay. But you've got to be consistent. You have to catch them all 3 days. The whole field's fishing all 3 days. So it's definitely a different field, different atmosphere, a lot more decisions and pressure go into it because you have 126 anglers on the water all 3 days
Yeah.
versus being cut down.
And, for you guys to know the field this year in 2024, the field got even tougher. I mean, before you guys had, a couple FLW Bassmaster
Yep.
elite anglers, and then this year, everybody jumped in. So, I mean, your competitiveness as a whole, you had to increase. I mean, you had to up your game.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we had a meeting that Sunday night after the first day of practice. And you walk into the room and just take a look around. I'm like, holy cow. Yeah, it was crazy. Just seeing
And you
all these.
see the elite angler of the year, Kyle
Yeah.
Welcher, just to name a few,
Yeah.
sitting there.
Yeah.
You're like, okay.
Oh yeah, dude, I kind of got geeked out the third day in line to weigh it. Yeah, I went and met him. I was like, I just walked up I didn't care about the fish. I went
Yeah.
to go meet
That
Welcher.
is awesome.
But yeah, you look around that room and it was like, holy cow, it's incredible. Yeah, the field is definitely stacked this year.
Yeah.
You've got some new namers stepping up, but you've got a lot of those elite guys, a lot of those invitational guys, tour guys. So it's definitely a cool experience.
When they increased that payout to $100,000, it made a lot of heads turn, is what it actually made. A lot of the guys in the schedule actually worked out good for them.
Mhm.
You were saying earlier about last year that you were having a bad day, not necessarily a bad tournament. What's some of the things that you improved on, or what's some of the things that you did for 2024 to help, get rid of that issue?
For sure. So last year was my first time ever fishing, a 3-day event, a whole week
Right.
event. So I was just inexperienced is really what it came down to.
Okay.
I didn't
Mm.
know how to manage fish. I didn't know how to practice for the 3 days. I was learning because I didn't have anyone to show me, do this, do this, do this. This is all I had to learn it the hard way. So definitely learning to manage fish, how to practice a little better. And the main thing is practicing during the tournament. That is something I
Mhm.
learned, and that is huge to do in order to be consistent for 3 days. So that I definitely put a lot of time, especially in the off season and in between tournaments, learning how to do that. So that definitely helped this event.
All right. So as a young man, you just brought up three little categories right there. First was was time management. It's always very important in all your tournaments, and
Yes.
making it finding fish enough for 3 days. What did you change?
Yeah, so mainly that really I changed how I practice, right?
Okay.
So I wasn't spending a lot of time on just certain deals, beginning of last year. If I had found something that was working, I would have just stuck with it, fished the same bank, fished the same spots, whatever. I banked too much on too little.
Mm.
So
Okay.
this year, I felt more comfortable as throughout last year progressing. I felt more comfortable practicing more and more and more each day of the tournament. So fishing new water, even if that's making, 3 extra stops, or setting aside 30 minutes to go try something,
Mm.
just being able to do that and have confidence doing that during the tournament is huge, because that 30-minute time period you try to do something new saved 3 of my tournaments last year, because that was the time you figure something out. So just being able to practice a little better is big.
We always talk about here. A lot of the anglers say we don't run spots, we run patterns. And we know each pattern as we find them in practice. A pattern is producing at different times throughout the day.
Correct.
What's a pattern look like for you, man?
Yeah, so patterns just, I call 1 fish luck, 2 fish a coincidence, 3 fish is a pattern. That's what
Yeah.
I kind of roll by.
That's awesome.
So, 1 is whatever, but so when you catch one, I'll kind of hit a couple of these deals. Let's say I catch one off a deep dock. I'm going to run, 10 or 12 more deep docks. If I don't catch anything, that was
Right.
a luck of the draw fish. I'm not going to worry with it. So when deciding between running spots and patterns is very dependent on the lake, I
Mm-hmm.
found. So certain places you can run just spots.
Mm-hmm.
Junk fishing,
Right.
I've got a brush pile here, I've got a dock here, I've got a lay down here, and just fishing it all. So there's definitely tournaments where you need to do that, where patterns don't develop. But
Yeah.
developing a pattern is huge for a 3-day consistent catch. So pattern, like I said, is the 3 fish rule for me for developing a pattern.
I've always said there's just some lakes that are spot lakes, and there's some lakes that are patterns. And some lakes, it's just they're going to be there. They're going to be there every single year. It's just how it is. And then other lakes, there's a bite. There's a bite. And there's a pattern to that bite that seems to happen.
Right.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
You talked about after day two, having the lead. Um, how did you feel having the lead going into the final day? I mean, when you got some big name anglers chasing behind you, how are the
Yeah,
nerves, man? How are you able to handle that pressure that says, I gotta do X or I'm gonna lose?
for sure. No, and honestly though, there wasn't a whole lot of pressure. I was
Okay.
in that position 3 days, 3 tournaments last year. I went out
mm,
second place for 3 days, and you cannot get too emotional with it. You cannot get too stressed with it, because it's still, you almost have to look at it as a clean slate. We're all zeroed
mm,
out that 3rd day. You just got to go, and it's just you and the fish. If you catch them, great.
exactly.
If you don't catch them, that's on you. That no one else, only you can beat yourself with that. You know, So a lot of these guys, I mean, you can have a guy catch a giant bag and leap way up,
Right.
but you just got to go fish your stuff, you know. But I won't, or I'd be lying if I said if I stayed calm all day that third day,
Yeah.
because once once you get 5 in the boat, and then
Yeah.
I got 5 real early, and then I went on like a 3-hour lull. And so
Ooh.
during that lull, your emotions are playing with you. Oh, should I do this? Should I do that? I wonder what other guys are doing. This is the weight I feel like I should need to win. So a lot of things start kind of creeping in, but you've just got to learn to kind of put that to the side. Like I said, just focus on you, focus on your fish, because you can't control anything else but you.
How did you deal with it? Besides that, I mean, like you said, you sat down and thought about it, but how did you deal with going without catching a bass in 3 hours? I mean, that can be that would drive me crazy. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and that's just learning to the little mental reset is what I call it. Just even if it's sitting down, I sat down and ate a cookie for like 2 minutes.
See, I was about to say that's when I eat the honey bun, the spin
Yeah.
out honey bun. That's what I call it.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it. You just got to sit down and think. If it's your time to win, it's gonna happen. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing you
Yeah.
can control there. So you just have to kind of give yourself a little pep talk, little reset, eat a cookie, and then get back to it.
You know, we just finished stop number 1. It's a long season left, to get that momentum going in throughout the rest of the year. Momentum is key. We've seen it in many tournaments, and we've seen people die with momentum. I mean, there was someone who won a couple different anglers, Jason Christie. I mean, after winning a Bassmaster Classic, come up and had a rough tournament the next couple, and then end up the rest of the season was not that great. So, how important do you think for you personally the momentum going into the rest of 2024?
Yeah, so winning this one is just a massive stress reliever. I was so close last year and the tie and all.
Mm-hmm.
So it just, that frees me up tremendously to fish. But as far as momentum goes, I feel like each tournament is to its own. It's a clean slate. Yes, you go into it knowing that, hey, I'm financially covered for the year. So it's just
Right.
a massive stress reliever.
Yeah.
So you go out, have fun. But like I said, each tournament's a tournament of its own. So you cannot carry those past emotions, past things into the next one. It's a clean slate, start over. You got to figure out, just like everyone else, how to catch them that day, that week. So it's just a clean slate.
You mentioned in one of the press releases you plan on changing nothing for the rest of this year. What did you mean by that, man?
Yeah, I'm not going to change how I practice, how I fish, anything. I'm still going to put the time in. You can't come off a win and just go into the next one lackadaisical. You've got to keep that same intensity, that same mindset, and go into each and every event with that. So I wouldn't change anything there. Like I said, and the money's great, but it's sitting in a bank account. It's not doing a whole lot right now. So it doesn't change anything for me. I'm going to go into the very next one. Amistad is coming up with the same intensity, same purpose in mind.
You're 22 years old, out of college, and the next one coming up, you're going to be the one that everybody's going to be talking about. The media is going to be hitting you pretty daggone hard. I mean, you won a first event in 2024. How are you able to handle that pressure and then the pressure of actually fishing the next tournament? Because, you've got the momentum.
Yeah, for sure. But, each and every event, I almost play off the pressure a little bit.
Okay.
I don't know that I'm going to catch a fish, or I have zero expectations. I'm not going to go into Amistad thinking, I have the best shot to win here. No, it's like, I'm going to go in, have fun, and just go fish and catch some fish. So there's very little pressure now, obviously I would hate to fall off the map all year and come in last every event.
Yeah.
But like I said, each event is so new, it's so different. So there's very little pressure, I feel like, right now. Just because for me personally, all the pressure was getting that win. So now it's like, let's go have fun.
Brother, Will, how does it feel holding up that 800-pound NPFL trophy, man? Because I've held one of them. I tried to hold two of Sokups. I could only hold one.
Yes.
I mean, yes, the money's worth $100,000. Yes, that'd be amazing. But that trophy is awesome. I mean,
Hardware's forever.
that American
Hardware's
flag
forever.
trophy is probably one of the coolest trophies ever out there.
No, it is also. Yeah, when Paul handed it to me on the stage, I about dropped it. I was like,
I was watching. I was watching.
oh yeah. Yeah, I couldn't lift
Yeah.
it over my head. I was like halfway over.
What are you,
That's it.
$150 wet? Will, you can
Yeah.
tell us, man. You're like $150 wet.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
There's no, I mean, and I'm 50 years old. I'd be like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to do a little workout before I.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was definitely unexpected. I had never held one before. It didn't look that heavy, but it was heavy.
it's heavy. Guys, I held it at the Classic couple, was it like 2 years ago? Sokup had a booth and he had his trophies over there.
Yeah.
And we all hung out for a little bit and he let me pick them big old bad boys up. And I was like, holy cow. I mean, it's an amazing trophy. And like Geek said, the money will spend, it'll disappear, but that piece of hardware, no one will ever be able to take that away from you.
Yep.
No, it's incredible. Like I said, something I always dreamed of, but never really thought possible. So
Yeah.
to have that sitting here, I still stare at it thinking, wow, it's.
You should have just put it beside your arm during the interview. Just held on to it, just like this.
Yeah.
I can't get my arm. There it
Come
is.
on, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, this little thing? No.
Yeah. Nothing much.
So what lake left on the schedule? What are you really looking forward to?
Yeah, I've spent the most time on Hartwell. I'm only 45 minutes
What I
away.
figured.
So I spend a lot of time on it. But that's a tricky lake too. That time of year, you could very easily come in 75th just as well as the top 5.
Yeah.
Because that's spotted bass. They're like women always say. They never know what they want.
Amen.
So they're picky. But yeah, so Hartwell, obviously looking forward to getting back to Saginaw. That was such a fun event. And one I've never been to, but I'm excited to get to is the Lake of the Ozarks. So that was, from what I've seen, that I'm excited for that one.
That's my style. I'm up in Tennessee, Northeast Tennessee, South Holston, Cherokee,
Oh yeah.
Watauga. So I'm used to those. I've been fishing for smallmouth at 80-foot deep all winter long.
Oh yeah.
So that's those highland reservoirs. That's where I grew up fishing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Those Ozarks are that kind of lake. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I think the most probably.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Will you be fishing the championship this year? I forgot to ask you at the beginning, but did you qualify for the 2023 championship?
Yes, sir. Yep, we will go to Amistad here in a couple weeks.
All the way down in Texas, everybody.
That's a big bass lake historically.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. But I hate largemouth. Yeah, I hate.
Do you really? Wow. See, I'm the exact
I love smallmouth
and I
myself because I love river fishing.
But I like largemouth because listen, I don't care. Anybody can argue this fact, and I don't want to piss a bunch of people off, but largemouth are so much easier to catch year round. Because smallmouth, man, in the summer, no, I hate them. They go, especially in these highland reservoirs. No, I'm like, go largemouth fishing. They're on the ledges. They're only 25-foot deep versus 90-foot deep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm done.
Man, yeah, no, and that time of year, if they're spawning, like they should be, that is not my wheelhouse at all. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to get there though, and it is a big fish factory for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Will, good luck to you the rest of 2024. Appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you for talking with us. And man, good luck to you. And hopefully you get another win under your belt. You can be you'll be the third 2-time NPFL winner. Because we got Sokup, we got Patrick Walters, and let's hope Mr. Will Harkins becomes number 3.
Yeah, that would be awesome. But thank y'all for having me on.
Anytime, man.
All right, guys, we really appreciate Will Harkins coming on and talking with us tonight. 22 years old, taking home
Yep.
$100,000 in PFL win. I will be honest with you guys, I had it backwards here. He tied at Lake Eufaula, and then he ended up getting the win on Logan Martin this past weekend. So congratulations to him on that. And I mean, like I said, that's what an event. He led it after day 2, was able to wrap it all up day number 3. So I mean, congratulations to dude. I mean, you know, I guess it is different. The dude's 22. He went through the high school rankings. He did the college thing. He's a college graduate, and he still lives at home. So I mean, he's blessed to have a cushion there. And it's, I mean, like you said, he went out on a limb and took his college money and he bought a bass boat and he went fishing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he I'm going to do a podcast here on before the first cast, and it's really talking kind of about what he did, but it's more a business podcast, and it's kind of late not getting your. It's kind of hard not getting your bumps and bruises early in life,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's some people get lucky when they start late in life, and some people just crash and burn.
Yep.
And I had a crash and burn over the weekend. I mean, I woke up to something that I was like, I mean, it's Saturday morning before we went up over the mountain. I ended up reading a post, and you guys know I read, but not as much as I should, and I was just dumbfounded. And I'm going to dive deep into that a little bit and talk about the whole business aspect of things in life and why you should, if you want your dreams, move and go into that direction and try to do it as early in life as possible before kids come along, family comes along,
Oh yeah.
responsibilities come along, and all that great stuff. And we're rewinding back. These kids now, the high school and the college fishing, they got the jump start.
Yeah.
They're going, they're rolling. They've seen many bodies of water, and the dude's got a great, great career ahead of him. I mean, like you said, 22.
Oh yeah.
He's got 25 more years, and dang, by that time I'll be 75 years old, daggone it.
Yeah. It's like, I'm kind of the reverse. I had kids early, and it's kind of good for me because I get to do things. The kids suffer, I think, when you do that and you're struggling, and your wife and your kid, or your wife and you are trying to figure out and grow up yourselves.
Yes.
Luckily, me and my wife has stuck with me, thank God, for 30 years. But it is, man. It's real tough. There's a lot more, because once you get to the point in life where we are, to be able to start chasing your dreams, there's a lot more baggage that
There
you
is.
have to deal with, and bills, and then when you're his age and you can just fire off, and it's like I say, I'm all for the young guys. I think that's the biggest thing that most arguments miss about the youth movement, is they discount the feeder system that's been in place now for Brandon Card, a good friend of mine,
Yes.
was one of the first
he was
to benefit from it.
And
you think about Brandon Card as an old head kind of now, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's so it's been a minute since this high school
that's true
thing has
we're
been
talking probably
on.
like 10 years in it, at least close to it.
So it's time for it to pay off.
It is. And the crazy thing, I know a lot of the guys, the Federation guys, were quite upset when Bass started pouring a lot of money into this feeder system. And I heard so many hymns, haws, complaints about how they were getting all the money. But they gotta understand this as well. Bass is a business, just like any other business out there. And just like my job, they hope at 65 you will retire to, they don't want you to stick around any longer than you have to, because they want to get the young blood in there. And now with forward facing sonar, all the new electronics, things changing, they want the sport to keep changing with it. And with that,
Yep.
we just saw it. I mean, NPFL, 22 years old winner. You look back at the Opens last year, maybe the oldest one was like 30. Younger than that, I think 25. I mean, we're talking about young people making big strides in the world of tournament bass fishing. And guys, in 2 weeks, we get to see them. You know, we get to see what they're all about, their struggles, and you know, how they adapt to, you know, it's like going from college to NFL. I mean, you know, how we see from college to the NFL, we get to see their weaknesses, strengths, how they handle pressure and everything that goes into it from fishing, you know, the Bassmaster Elite season. But they all came through high school, college, the opens, 200 and some anglers fishing the opens. I mean, it ain't like, you know, it's 100 and some boats fishing the elites. So, I mean, from there, their odds go up.
Yeah.
It's just so
and
much.
You think about what he just said. Think about what he just said. 200 days on the water.
Yeah.
You let me spend 200 days on the water, and I'll be cashing some checks. I promise you.
That's awesome.
I mean, that's a huge amount of time on the water to learn and to get better and to hone your skills.
You got that right.
You know, 200 days, how many hours? You know?
Yes.
So, and that's why we're seeing the influx, I think, of the youth movement. I mean, you know, it's got to be that. If we're really going to grow this sport, it's got to be that.
Man, that's the whole reason why guys Major League Fishing bought I mean, yeah, Major League Fishing bought FLW. I mean, they needed that feeder system to keep their, you know, keep it growing. A fluctuation that, you know, we just saw the big flux this year. I mean, we saw a lot of anglers who are fishing opens who are coming back. We could kind of just sit on this thing all night long, but we got to go.
We could.
But guys, really appreciate you guys all listening. Thank you so much for being a part of Basscast Radio. Guys, hit the follow button for Bass Geek as always. Don't forget, you know, we got a YouTube channel as well. And the American Angler Outdoors. I'm not sure how he's uploading episodes. I know he's doing a couple each week to try to keep stuff fresh. And we really appreciate Alvin for taking care of us here at Basscast Radio. And I really appreciate him reaching out to us to add us to his network of channels. So head on over to Roku right now and download the American Angler Outdoors. Have a great night, everyone, and we'll be talking to you guys really, really soon. Don't forget, man, we got opens this weekend. We got a Toyota Series event. It's going to be a lot of bass fishing, so sit back and get ready to enjoy.